What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. We are bottling our German Pils today, the long-awaited German Pils, to say anything about that, because this German Pils we were supposed to bottle the goal was to bottle like a month ago, but we ran into some issues with it, and the only issue we ran into is the fact that the uh, fermentation took a little bit longer. Reason being, our refrigerator inside the house went out and it got too hot, so we had to move all of our food out into the fridge that this Pilsner was fermenting in. And in the process of doing that, the temperature inside the fridge dropped dramatically, which caused the fermentation to pretty much stop. So I moved it to another fridge, my kegerator. I brought it up to the temperature that it needed to be at in order to ferment, and then it finished fermentation. And it finished fermentation, I want to say, about 2 weeks ago. So it took a little longer than normally it would take. It takes about like 6 weeks, maybe 8, to ferment a lager if you're doing homebrew style. And then otherwise, yeah, like ales take like 3 weeks, maybe minimum. But anyways, so it's done and we're bottling it today. So I'm super excited. So for those of you who are just jumping on, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. We do everything that's beer. So you're going to see lots of bottles here. We're going to be bottling a German Pilsner today. If you're not new to the channel, welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. I'm kind of running around like a chicken with my head cut off right now because time. So I'm heating up some water. So let me show you guys what I'm going to be doing real fast. I'm going to do screen capture so you can see what I'm going to be looking at. Okay, I'm just wanting to make sure that my lapel mic is good. And here we go. I need to come over here. It's just my hot link for carbonation and priming. And so I'm going to be using this website, which is brewyourown.com. And they have amazing tools on here. And this is free. You can get the paid version and get all sorts of articles and access to a lot of other tools that are super helpful. I don't do the paid version because I'm kind of cheap. I'm trying to save money. I'd rather spend money on beer ingredients than, you know, subscriptions. So anyways, here we are. I'm looking for lagers. So today, since it's a European lager, you could see on this page, we start with section A, which is just a table, and it shows the different styles of beer, or American ales, British ales, German Weissens, Belgian ales, European lagers, and American lagers. So we're going to go with a European lager today. When I pulled it out today, it was about 48 degrees Fahrenheit. So why do I want to know the temperature of the beer when I pull it out? Big reason is we come down to table B. In table B, it shows the temperature of the beer and it shows you the volumes of CO2 that are remaining inside the beer. Okay. And the reason I'm looking at all this is because I need to know how much corn sugar I need to add to the water to um, to add to the beer. Yeah, so basically we're putting priming sugar into water, we're boiling it, which is sanitizing it, and then we're going to cool it and stick it in the bottling pail. We're going to add the beer, mix it all in, and then we're going to bottle it. So that's what we're trying to do here. So what did I say? It was about 47 to 50 degrees. So we'll call it I'm going to put it on the higher end. It was 50 degrees. So we'll call it 1.15. So we're going to take this number from the European lager. Let's just say I guess it says 2.4 to 2.6. So let's just say 2.4. I want to do it on the lower end because I don't want to do too much. Let me come over here, find my calculator. So we'll say 2.4 volumes of CO2 minus the residual 1.15, I think is what I said. Yep. And this is going to give us 1.25 left that we need to fill in. So we're going to come down to our glucose monohydrate, which is dextrose monohydrate. That's our priming sugar that we're using. On the left side, it tells us the amount of ounces of priming sugar that we need. There's grams in the middle, and then the volumes of CO2. So we're going to go to the far right column where it says volumes of CO2. We need 1.25, right? So we found 1.19 is the closest, and we're just going to interpolate because we go over and you see 3.5. So we'll do 3.7 ounces, give or take, of CO2. So that's what we're doing with that whole shenanigan. So what did I say, 3.7? So then we're going to come over here. Let me show you what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to bring you close, but not too close because I've got, you know, limitations. So here's my priming sugar, and I can also turn on the kitchen light. That'll help. Normally I have things better prepared. Today I'm kind of like running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So we're gonna come in here, you get to see my cabinet right up here. Look at that, all the spices and the coffee beans that I roast. I roast my own coffee beans. Anyways, let me show you what we got going on here, okay? I've got 2 cups of water coming to a boil right now. We're gonna get a bowl and turn on the scale. And we've got grams right now. I need it to ounces and 3.7 ounces. I know you can't really see it on here, but there's 1.5. 2.8. 3.5. Okay, we're almost there. 3.7, there we go. Okay, you don't want to put too much corn sugar in because what you end up running into is an issue that's called overcarbonation. I've had that happen a couple of times and it's not fun. All right, so I poured it in already. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up. Let it dissolve into the water. Once it gets to a boil, we're gonna boil it for about, I realize you're looking at my chest. We're gonna boil it for about 10 minutes to basically pasteurize it. And it's almost there. Let's see, that's not gonna work. We'll just put it like that. Anyways, so that's how we figure out how much corn sugar we need to put into to our beer. Okay, so it all depends on the style of beer that you're trying to shoot for. Usually it just depends. You just got to use that chart that I was showing you guys, and that's the best way to do it. Now, there's a few things that I should probably go over in terms of bottling, okay? So you have your beer, it's been in the fermenter. Okay, so now what you need for bottling, okay? You need a handful of things. You need, first of all, my normal go-to, which is sanitation fluid, right? Because you need to sanitize anything that's going to touch beer. So we've got Star San, okay? You always have to sanitize, 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 sanitize. Sanitize the fermenter, sanitize the yeast packets, sanitize your airlocks, your bungs, the lids, scissors that's gonna touch, anything that's gonna touch beer, it has to be sanitized. So fortunately for you guys, I've already, I haven't done the Star San though, and this is super nice. I've got 3.75 gallons and I need 0.8 ounces of, give or take, of Star San. So you usually put about 1 ounce of Star San into 5 gallons of water. So that's what you do, and that's just to dilute it. This is a really strong acid cleaner or sanitizer. So it's a high acid. So let's see. I thought it said somewhere on here what kind of acid level it is. Somebody, I think I saw it was like a 5 or something like that in terms of acid. But this whole thing, the Star San is just basically going to kill all sorts of bacteria, wild yeast, that kind of thing, and it's just going to sanitize everything. Okay, so we're going to mix that in. So you need your sanitizer. You need, let me see, what else do I have in here that you guys will need? Okay, so let me show you what I have. Okay, so you're going to need a hydrometer and a racking cane. So here's our racking cane. I know it looks really weird. So it's a cane, right? And it's basically a siphon is all it is. So we're going to use that to move the beer from the fermenter into the bottling pail. And again, remember everything is going to need to be sanitized, okay? So our bottling pail needs to be sanitized. I'm just adding a little bit more water just because I think I put a little more than 0.8 ounces, so almost a full ounce. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Again, I apologize. I normally am very prepared, but I was just wanting to do too many things today because that's what I do, is I always overbook myself. This is ready to go. 10 minutes. Okay, so again, things that you need. You need a hydrometer, and this is to confirm that your beer is done fermenting, and it's going to tell you what your finishing gravity is. In terms of the gravity of beer, if you watch my channel often, you know that when we are done with brew day itself, we do a measurement, and and that measurement is called our original gravity, and that original gravity will kind of give us an idea of what the potential alcohol is for our beer. So a higher gravity, the higher alcohol potential. The lower the gravity, the lower the alcohol potential. So for this particular beer, let me check and see. I think this one was supposed to be 6.0. It's been so long since I've done this that I forget already. But we're going to take good notes, right? That's what we do here, because we are brewers, we are scientists. We're trying to make good beer and be able to replicate it. All right, so this one was supposed to be 6%. Started off at 1.055 density, so that's good, or gravity, I should say. And our finishing gravity is supposed to be 1.010. So as long as it's within that range, 1.010 less, like a 9 or an 8, or above to like 11 or 12, those are all good. So we're going to measure that. You need your racking cane, which I already showed you. You're going to need a bottling pail, okay? And the bottling pail should also have some sort of spigot that you stick on the bottom. Make sure you have some rubber washers to make sure that the beer doesn't come out. Again, since you're going to be putting beer in here, it needs to be sanitized, so we're going to be sanitizing that here in a second. Also, make sure it's clean. And I did wash it from the last time we used it, but it's always good to just double check to make sure it's all clean. It's not going to be spending a whole lot of time in the beer, so it's not, I mean, it's very important that you wash everything, but sanitize it, and then you're ready to go. The next thing that you need is you need a capper, which is right here, and I know it looks like a torture device, so this is how it works. You put your cap in here. It's got a little magnet in the middle to hold the cap, and you just squeeze it and pull down, and it crimps the caps onto your bottles. You need caps, of course, and bottles. And then if you could find bottles that have these pop tops, these things are sick. They're so easy, and you just have to sanitize them, right? And you can always replace them. There's some gaskets that you can get at the brew store. They're super cheap for a small amount, so it's super easy. But I like these a lot because you don't even have to cap it. So if you can get those, that's great. Again, sanitize everything in case I didn't say that already, which I know I did. But anyways, there's that. So those are all the things that you really need. And you need corn sugar, of course, for the carbonation. Trying to think, is there anything else? I know I don't really seem like I have everything together because I don't, but we're just rolling with it. That's what we do here at the Speak. Hey, what's up? Hey, dude, it's great to see you. Yeah, heck yeah, man. Hey, and don't worry. I know you have some dinner plans with your brother, so family comes first. If you jump on for 5 minutes, I'm totally happy with that. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping on, even if it's for a short time. You're awesome. But I got to show you your beer, man. Like, this is what we're doing, right? Let me show you your beer. There's your beer. Look at how clear that is. Like, you could see my hand all the way through it. Is that lovely, or is that lovely? So I'm really excited about that. Really, really excited. And it's, oh, dude, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. Again, do not feel like you need to stay here the whole time. Just jump on for 5 minutes. Just the fact that you said hi is perfect. So I appreciate you jumping on. And obviously, you know, it's going to be online for a few days. So, but definitely enjoy your time with your brother, because I know that sounds like fun. I wish I could hang out with my brother right now. All right, so let me grab this real fast. I'm gonna get the spigot real quick, so we can get the show on the road. All right, and here's the spigot that you're gonna need. You can see the washers that are already on there. Basically, just stick it in the sanitizer and have the sanitizer kind of flow through the entirety of it. And then make sure it's open when you do that, because you want the sanitizer fluid to come out. I did it once where I had put the sanitizer fluid in and run it through, and for whatever reason, I closed it, and so there was sanitizer fluid still stuck inside this spigot. And when I popped it open, it put Star San grossness in one of my bottles, and I had to basically dump the bottle out because it was way too much. So it's kind of a bummer, but live and learn, right? Okay, sorry, I see what you. Oh, okay. Hey, I'm sorry. I guess I was thinking of a different time. I don't know. My math was horrible, um, so yeah. So I apologize. Thanks for being there at 5. I'm sorry it didn't start at 5. So glad you made it. In terms of bottles, it usually makes about 48 to 50 bottles. Today we're going to be using less bottles. Only reason being is that I've got some massive bottles. These are a little bit bigger than 22-ounce bottles. I think they're, see, 22 ounce. Do I have a measurement on this? I actually don't know. 56 millimeters. No, that's not right. I don't know, but these take up quite a bit. So 4 of these is about 1 gallon. So I think that's about 6 bottles for 4 of these. So I think I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Anyways, yes, I'm trying. Also, just a heads up, like things get messy. So what I'd recommend is try not to do it in a place that you don't want to get messy. And since you're using Star San and there's a potential, since it's a high acid, if you have wood counters like myself or cutting boards or anything that could potentially absorb the Star San acid, try and clean it up as quickly as possible and don't just let it sit for a while. And if you have dog food and water nearby, get rid of that so that it doesn't get Star San all over that because you don't want to poison your dog. So all the fun things to think about when it comes to beer. Anyways, all right, so what we're gonna do, I've got the spigot in the Star San. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. What I also recommend is if you can get a small little pitcher like this. This one's only about like 1 cup. Small one of these. It's kind of nice to be able to like pour the Star San around. Otherwise, you just need to find a way to make sure it doesn't spill all over the place. We got 3 minutes left of this, of the corn sugar boiling. Again, to sanitize it, pasteurize it's the better way of putting it. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get, so I have a little bowl also that I normally use. What I'll do is I'll fill this with Star San and then put my caps in there for the bottles. So I just let that sit. One big rule of thumb with Star San and how long do you let something sit in Star San, the most important thing is that you let it sit anywhere between like a minute to 2 minutes. I think they say is like a good safe time frame is about 2 minutes. So like let your bottle sit in. So normally what I'll do, and I'll show you obviously when it comes to bottling time, I'll put bottles in the Star San, let it sit for 2 minutes, and then I'll remove the bottles from the Star San to be ready to fill, and then I'll put new bottles in the Star San. So by the time I'm done filling the bottles and capping them, the other bottles are ready to go. It's way easier when you have 2 people, but when you're just 1 person, it takes a little bit longer. So I would always say when you're bottling, if you're brand new to it, give yourself a little bit of slack. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. Once you get used to it and the process and the system, it goes a lot faster. Obviously, if you try to do the streaming thing, it takes much longer because you have to set up, take down, you have to clean, bottle, do all these things, and it just takes more time. But it's all good. It's all good. For you guys, I'm totally doing it. Yeah, and just, yeah, honestly, the fact that you're on here, Big Juicy Cat, like, I'm just pumped that you're here. Um, I'm just doing, I'm just happy to just do it for you because this is your idea of your beer. And I'm so excited that it's finally done, man. Like, it's taken so much time, and I apologize for it taking so much time. But I am really excited for it because I think it's going to be a really solid beer. So, yeah. Anyways, there's that. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to tell you guys one more thing that you guys will need. One other thing that you guys are going to need is some tubing. something to um, something to move the beer. You attach it to the racking cane, so to move the beer from the fermenter to the bottling pail. And you want it long enough that it's not going to like splash around and add a lot of oxygen. You don't want a whole lot of oxygen going into your beer at this phase of um, the beer process, the brewing process, just because you could run into stale beer or get access to wild bacteria and yeast, that kind of thing. So, anyways, okay. I'm gonna be right back. Let me go grab that hose, and then when I get back, we're gonna sanitize our our bottling bucket, and then we're going to move the beer in, and I'll just show you my setup that I have there too. So stand by, stand by. All right. So here's my hose. It's a nice clear hose. Again, since beer is going to be flowing through it, it needs to be sanitized. So go ahead and stick that in your sanitation fluid and make sure it goes through the entirety of the tubing. All right, and I think this is that closed? No, it's open. I mean, it is closed. Sorry, I need it open. So I'm just running the Star San through this spigot real fast, and then I'm going to undo it and stick it onto our bottling pail. The nice thing here is just be careful when you're moving it in, because it's easy to just kind of like force it in, but since there's ridges for the threading, there's a potential that you could damage the bucket. So definitely don't want to do that. And then once it's all the way in or mostly in, keep it a little loose. Put your second washer, so you're going to have two washers, one on the outside, one on the inside. Make sure it's tight on both sides, and then tighten as needed. One thing that I have noticed is if you tighten it too much, you run the risk of like it squeezes it so much that it actually doesn't create a good seal. So that's kind of weird. So anyways, what I do is I just kind of cut my hand and I just bring the Star San up all the way, and I just need it to touch all the surfaces. And I do this several times. This just gives me better control over where the sanitation fluid is. In the past, one of the things I did, which was very inefficient, but it still worked, was I used to have a top for this, and that was much better. I could just close the top and just shake it around, and that was much easier. The top I had to get rid of because it had I was using it for both the bottling pail as well as a fermenter that I had that was the same size bucket. And the beer that I had made, this was a couple years ago, had gone bad and it had somehow touched the top of the lid. So I had to just get rid of it. So I don't have a new lid yet, but maybe one day I'll get one. So, but what I was doing was I was just tilting it and trying to get the fluid up to the top, and it was just a mess because I was just spilling everywhere, and it was just silly. Ugh. And I still spill even when I'm using this procedure. So whatever system you can find, the great thing about homebrewing is if you're like a engineering mind, you are going to come up with all sorts of cool things that are like automated systems and all this other cool stuff. And for me, like I am more of the creative mindset, but when it comes to like, so I can brew beer just fine and come up with new styles of beer and all that other fun stuff. But honestly, like my brain is not engineering. I can come up with ideas of what it's going to look like, or oh, I can create a system that does this. But when it comes to execution, absolutely horrible. Not even worth it for me. So I just rather buy stuff that's already done. Okay, so let me show you guys. I'm going to show you guys this other camera view. Obviously, you get to see this lovely beer, and it's just so amazing. But let me show you what I got going on here, okay? Let's see if I can get you a little bit closer so you can see what's going on. All right, so you guys can see inside the pail, I think, right? Yep, almost. There you go. So what I do to kind of help cool the corn sugar water down faster is I just pour it in the bucket. Obviously, it's really hot, but there's a lot more surface area, so it's going to cool down a lot faster than if it was just in this pot. And we want it to cool down as quickly as we can, just because we don't want it to kill off the yeast. Honestly, it's probably not that big of a deal with the amount of yeast that's in there, so I let it cool down just a tad before I actually put beer in it. That way, I have the most potential yeast available. So we're going to let that cool down. Meanwhile, I'm going to get some things together. So I'm going to go ahead and sanitize some of these containers. So, and when you, here, let me just show you, because that's not the most exciting view ever. I just wanted to show you guys what I was doing. So when you sanitize your bottles, you want to completely submerge your bottles. Okay, so we're going to start off with the big ones just because they take up a lot of space in this bucket. So yeah, I can only do a few of them. So we're going to just do these 4 first, and that should be about 1 gallon, maybe a gallon and a half of beer, which is awesome. But otherwise, I've got all these really cool green glass bottles that one of my neighbors got for me, which was awesome. And that's one thing I'd recommend too, is if you are doing the home brewing thing, start collecting bottles, or if you're thinking about getting into it, just collect bottles or have your friends collect bottles for you. Every bottle that you get, like I'll just show you this one. I was able to take the label off, but any beer bottle, okay, just take the label off if you can. And then if you can't, not a big deal, just leave it on. I don't know if I have any bottles today that have the labels on still, but it doesn't really matter. Unless you want to make your own label, then maybe consider it. But just have fun. And there are so many ways to do it on the cheap. I mean, this beer that I made, this Pilsner, I think the price of it, if I were to price out how many bottles I have based on the amount of beer I have from the ingredients, I think the ingredients themselves cost, I think this one was about $40. And I mean, that wasn't just ingredients. I bought a few other things. So if it was just ingredients, it was probably more like $35. So in terms of how much I actually spent per bottle, like it's not right. Actually, I'm glad that you asked that. So I actually have been thinking about. So I have obviously my T-shirt, the Speakeasy Brew. I've got several versions of this, but we're going to make some labels here before too long. I'll post some labels that Brewbella made for some beers that we made a while ago. One of them was a birthday beer for a friend of mine, and then the other one was for a fundraiser we did. We raised $3,000 for a friend of ours. So that's what I'm wanting to do with this channel, is I'm using it as an opportunity to build community and friends, but also just have motivation to brew more beer. But I want to use my beer for good things, so that's the plan. Anyways, but yeah, so Speakeasy labels. So I was actually thinking of getting some growlers and putting my logo and my own little label on it, because I thought that'd be kind of fun. Or getting some of these specialty bottles where it's like you get 4 of them and then have that. I was thinking of like having some like merchandise or something like that would be fun. And then stickers. I've got coasters, which I'll have to show you guys one of the coasters. Brewbella is an amazing designer. She made all of it. So she made this T-shirt as well as my kind of reddish T-shirt that I wear, which I like both of them a lot. But yeah, we were thinking of even doing like a beer journal type thing. I came up with this idea recently. So it'd have like the Speakeasy Brewer logo on it. But then when you open it, you can keep track of all of your beers that you have. I'm kind of old school because I know there's apps out there like Untapped that allows you to like kind of keep track of all your beers. But I don't know. I'm old school. I like to have my own list of things. I put everything in a journal. So that's how I do things. All right. So it looks like this is cooling down enough. I'm just going to swirl it around gently just to kind of get some of that extra heat out. But again, once we start moving the beer in, the temperature of this corn sugar is going to go down really, really fast, because our beer right now is about 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the bung out. One of the things I started doing with my airlock is I started putting vodka in it instead of Star San, because one of the things I noticed is Star San was leaving some like weird film on the airlocks, and I didn't really like that film because it was harder to get off. Um, so there's that. That's one reason why. And the other thing too is when I ever had to move a fermenter around, um, it just sometimes it would create like a low pressure on the inside of the fermenter, and it would just suck Star San in. And a little bit's not bad, but I'm kind of picky about how my beers turn out, so it's just like, oh no, it's getting inside. Ah. Okay, we're gonna take a measurement of the beer, so we're gonna sanitize this as well. We're almost ready. We're gonna take a quick reading of it, and then I'm going to add it in my notes for finishing gravity. Here, let me just show you guys what I'm doing. Screen capture. Anyways, I'm really excited to try this beer too, by the way. I'm really excited. It looks fantastic. All right, so, okay, so our original gravity was 1.052. Let's see the design. Okay, so we were about 0.003 less in terms of gravity, so that's still pretty good. So we're probably looking at a beer that's about 5.7%, maybe. So we're going to make a note down below that's going to be the finishing gravity. And it's going to be 1.0 something. So we're going to measure that out. What are you guys up to? You going to go? I know, isn't that amazing? Ooh. Oh, lucky dog. Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so let me show you guys what we're doing now. Now that I don't know why I had to show you that. So boring. So boring. Okay, we're going to go here. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing next. Okay. I could probably turn this off just because. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just turn that light off. So we're going to take this top off. I need two hands. Lame. Okay. It had a little bit of beer on the inside, so beer is a little sticky. Oh, dude, it smells so good. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. This beer is not going to last very long, I'll tell you what. All right, so here we are. We are going to do our measurement. And I know some people will take beer out of here and put it in something else, but I've sanitized my hands and I've sanitized this bad boy. So we're just going to stick it in all the way, and we're going to see what sort of beer, what gravity we have. And it should be about, wow, that did pretty dang good. It's 1.008. Okay, so this bad boy is like super fermented and finished, so that's awesome. I'm just gonna rinse this off, and sometimes it's nice to clean as you go, honestly. And I think one thing that I'm going to try and do, ooh, I almost dropped that. One thing I'm gonna try and do from here on out, hey, looks like diabetic urine. Well, thank you. I guess it could be if you wanted it to be. Kind of looks like it. I guess, yeah, you're right. It does. It does. I'll never be able to think of a Pilsner ever again the same way. But yeah, it's definitely, it does look like that. I guess, yeah, because diabetics, yeah, their pee's kind of gross. Or like somebody that's got some sort of issue with their liver or something like that. Anyways, all right. So here we are. I'm putting the racking cane together, and again, like one of the things, I know you can't see me. I'm off screen. I'm gonna put the racking cane together, and this is what it looks like when it's all together. The cane itself goes on the inside, and then we're gonna attach the tubing to it. And this is like probably the more boring part of. It's just waiting. There's a lot of waiting for brew day. Okay, so obviously you want the hose to, there's a lot of Star San in that still, but you want the hose to get as far down in as possible, so again you don't get a whole lot of oxygen or splashing And then we're going to go and we're going to find the very center of the fermenter, which should be, oops, and try not to stir it up too much. Should be right about here. Okay. I stirred it up a tad, but all this stuff will settle up. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got beer flowing. So we got a little bit of sediment, which was the stuff that kind of got stirred up from the bottom. But now we got just like this nice flow. I don't know why. There we go. Okay. There was a little bit of, there was like an eddy at the top, and it was just causing there to be some oxygen getting in. So I cleared that up as quickly as possible. Again, a little bit of sediment's not bad. It's all going to sink to the bottom anyways. And a lot of that stuff, when you're actually getting ready to bottle, it's below that spigot level. So again, as that stuff settles, it shouldn't go in the bottle. Not a big deal. Even though it looks gross, honestly, the sediment's not bad for you. It's just yeast. In fact, it's actually really good for your gut flora. And it's not bad for you. So yeah, anyways, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's still bubbles coming up from the bottom, which is kind of cool. So that is CO2 that is, it's, what's the right way of saying it? That's kind of been inside of the yeast at the bottom. There's still a little bit of fermentation going on. And the CO2 that's already existing in the beer itself, it's just kind of, gosh, what's the proper word? I can't even think of it right now. It's similar to like if you cool water down that has salt in it, and the salt kind of comes out of that water, because it's super saturated. It's the same sort of thing. There's a certain, gosh, I can't even think of it, because we use it in aviation too when we talk about aeromedical things. Like if you have too much nitrogen, the nitrogen can basically come out of your blood and it forms in certain parts of your body. That's if you do like scuba diving or something before you fly. I just can't even think of the proper terminology of it. Anyways, so there's still a little bit coming out, and it's fun because every once in a while you'll see this massive big bubble, and it'll shoot from the bottom where all the yeast is, and it looks like a bullet, like because it'll take some of the yeast with it as it goes up. So it's pretty cool looking. So one thing, again, you'll notice that the difference between where the fermenter is and where the bucket is, like here's what it looks like now that we're putting it in the bucket. It's just a nice golden color, but you'll notice that the bucket is so much lower than the table, whereas like the 5-gallon plus point is going to be at the bottom of this fermenter. Reason being, we're using gravity. It's a siphon. Siphons work better when there's a larger difference in gosh, I can't even talk right now. Can you tell I'm not a scientist? Yeah, so when there's a greater difference, so then the siphon works better. Okay, so if you're siphoning from higher, it works better when you're siphoning into something that's lower. Let's keep it simple, shall we? Golly, don't follow me if you want to learn something about like really good solid science. Mine's more like winging it science, because that's what I do for work. I wing it. Joking. We follow procedures and such at the airlines. It's not just winging it. So we're cruising right now. We've got a lot of beer that's already moved in. We've got about 2 gallons already out of the fermenter and into the bucket. Now where it gets kind of challenging at this point is when we start getting lower to the bottom. It's always good to try and keep as much of the beer as you can, because you already lose about like half a gallon because of the bottom of the fermenter where all that yeast is. So my trick is, normally I have Rubella help me, but if I don't have anybody to help, I'll slowly tilt it sideways without trying to stir up as much sediment as possible. I want it to be as clean as possible, but it is quite challenging at times for sure. So I always just tilt it just at a slight angle and then just move the siphon with it. And I haven't really found a really good way of getting as little sediment as possible. I always end up, when I do that, I always end up getting a little bit of sediment. But again, a lot of this stuff should settle to the bottom um, once we get it all together. Once the beer is in the bottling pail, we are going to mix the corn sugar in with the beer. Now, the trick with that is, remember, I said don't add oxygen if you can, so we don't want a whole lot of splashing around. So you want to do a vigorous stirring without it splashing too much, because if you splash too much, you're adding oxygen into the beer and it can make it stale or whatever. So I'll show you how I do it. I try to be as careful with it as possible, um, but you can only do so much. Man, this is so cool. I kind of want to make another. I need to make a video of this because it's really cool. I wish you guys could see it. The cameras aren't good enough, but it's like some of these bigger bubbles are like um, they're like little bullets, and it's just creating these streams of sediment, which is super awesome. Anyways, I'm a nerd, I know. We're getting close. We're at about 3 gallons now. Again, this is the most boring part of bottling day because everything else just kind of speeds up from here. And so the fermenter I'm using today is called a Fermonster Wide Mouth Carboy. It's 7 gallons. So if you're wanting to save some money, you can always get these plastic fermenters. Honestly, I like these plastic fermenters a lot. The only thing to consider when you're using a plastic fermenter is you cannot use strong scrubby brushes to clean the stuff on the inside. You need to use the soft side of a sponge and be very careful to do that exactly. Because if you don't do it just right, then you'll create little micro scratches in the side, and that's where bacteria and yeast like to hide, and it will ruin your beer. Ask me how I know. But these are great. I've also seen, there's a guy on YouTube, I can't remember the name of his channel. He's a blast to watch, and he has a lot of really good tips and advice. And I actually used him a lot when it came to trying to build my mash tun and hot liquor tank on the outside for brew day. And he's got a lot of really great information and just a blast to watch. I'll have to look up the name again, or at least link it in my Discord. But he has a way where you can get fermenters. You just buy food grade, 5-gallon food grade buckets at Home Depot for like $5. And if you can get a step bit as well as this spigot, then you can get a fermenter for, have a fermenter for like $10 at most. So you could save a lot of money. There's a lot of really great ideas out there. Again, the whole point of doing home brewing in the first place is to have cheaper beer. Now, there is statistics, or there are statistics that show that there's a lot less people doing home brewing, and part of it's just because yes, it takes work, yes, it takes time, and it is one of those hobbies that you're either really into or you're not. But here's the thing: if you can make really good beer on the cheap, then um, you could save so much money. But then it's 5 gallons of one particular beer. So I don't know. I have a few ideas. I would really like to encourage people to get into home brewing because it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it feels good for you to make things yourself. There's a big move right now to be self-sustainable and to make your own things. Like there's people who homestead and they grow all their own food and make their own bread and make their own meat or butcher their own meat. There's all these little things that people are doing because everybody's wanting to go back to just I want to do things on my own without needing, government or whatever. I don't need anybody else. I just want myself. So there's a big move for that. So I think that this is it's going to be a part of that move. It's like becoming self-sustainable. I roast my own coffee, we make our own bread, and now I brew my own beer. And here's the other thing too. For those of you who might be doomsday preppers or like doom and gloom type people, not bashing on you, I'm just saying if you're one of them, because I've had my moments too. But if you're one of those people that you think that the apocalypse is coming at some point in time, I'll tell you one thing. If you brew beer, you're going to be the person that stays the longest because guess what? People want beer. And if nobody else knows how to do beer, beer is going to be one of those things that's, you're just going to help people be happy. And and chill when things go to hell in a handbasket. I was just thinking, I might not need to tip this. The yeast is so high, and right where the bottom of my siphon is where the yeast is. So I think we're just going to go right on down. So this is great. We're about 4.5 gallons, and I think that's going to be just right. Honestly, it's going to be perfect. We're getting close. It's almost done. It might be a little less than 5 gallons. If that's the case, that is what it is. It's going to be pretty close. My hands are getting tired from holding this. Oh, there we go. Switcheroo. Now that it's getting lower, I can see a little bit more sediment getting sucked in. It's going to be a little less than 5 gallons, I think, but that's okay. It's still a lot of beer. I'm still going to need people to drink it. I wish all of you guys were here, like Big Juicy Cat and Tion and Dr. Hoppenstein. It'd be fun. Some Goner also. Man, I miss Some Goner. He hasn't been on in a while. He's a good guy. And you know what? Honestly, if it weren't for Some Goner, I probably wouldn't be where I am today as a speakeasy brewer. Some Goner played a big role in my channel. So big shout out to him. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's an awesome dude. Okay, here we go. We're almost done. We are okay. Okay. That's enough. I was starting to really suck in some stuff. Okay. So there we go. We got all the beer into the bottling pail, which is awesome, which is exactly what we want. Get all that beer out. Okay, cool. Let me step off screen for a second so I can rinse some of this stuff off. Put that there. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to clean as I go just because I have a work thing that happens at noon today, which is part of the reason why I had to like rush and do this a little bit earlier. So Big Juicy Cat, thanks for jumping on, even though it might be for a short time. I just had to, I totally forgot that thing at work was happening today. So basically, it's not like a meeting or anything, what I'm doing. It's a scheduling thing. So at my work, we have super flexible schedules, and there's this thing that's called electronic line enhancement thing. Basically, all you need to know about it, because I'm not going to go into all the details, is I could take my entire schedule and totally shift it around to whatever I want. So I've already got weekends off, but I'm trying to get rid of a few days because I don't really feel like working that much. I'd rather be brewing, and also I've got a kid that's on the way, so I'm just trying to simplify my life, work less, you know. So anyways, and if I work less, it also means more time with my family and more time to brew, because this is my backup in case my current job doesn't work out for whatever reason. People stop flying, there's another pandemic, who knows, all the things. Hey, somebody jumped on. Deutsches Bier. Ja, wir, I don't even know how to say bottling. Dieses Bier ist Deutsches Pils. So, yeah, German Pils. Anyways, that's what we're doing. So thanks for jumping on and saying hi. Welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. We do all the things beer, bottling, reviews, brew day, all that stuff. We even made cider once. So if you like this kind of thing, this is the channel for you. So thanks for jumping on. Oh, vielen Dank, mein Freund. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Und Big Juicy Cat ist auch in Deutschland, aber ich bin in USA. Aber ich will
nach Deutschland reisen und gehen Sie auf, ich weiß nicht, gehen Sie auf, äh, ja, gehen Sie auf Deutschland und trinken viele Bier mit Big Juicy Cat und Tian und äh, mein Freund Mario. Ähm, ja, äh, ja, viel Spaß, viel Spaß. Ja. Nein, äh, viel Bier und dann Autobahn fahren. Äh, ähm, das ist Spinst. Ich bin nie Spinst, aber I don't know how to say this auf Deutsch, but I wanted to make a T-shirt that had a crazy spider on it. It says "Du spinnst." I thought that'd be kind of funny. Anyways, let me bring you guys over here real fast to this other camera. Yeah. Anyways, man, I love it. I love that I can have y'all here that speak German because it helps me to improve upon it. So super awesome. Abfühlen? Was bedeutet abfühlen? Oh yeah, I need to. Sorry, I'm kind of getting a little distracted here. I'm gonna just sanitize this spatula. We're gonna use that to mix the corn sugar in. We're doing good on time. We got a little bit extra time. Um, Cornholio, lebst du in Deutschland oder in Amerika? Oder maybe somewhere else. I don't know. Okay. Well, you're, oh, cool. Ich reise ähm, nicht jetzt in Köln, aber ich will nach Köln reisen. Uh, yeah, reisen. Yeah. I want to go. I think it'd be super awesome. In USA, in die Schule, viele Kinder lernen Spanisch, nicht Deutsch, just because Mexico is right there. Aber ich lerne Deutsch. I don't even know how to say this off Deutsch, but I wanted to learn German because I knew everybody else was taking French and Spanish, and I just wanted to be different. So that's why I chose German. And I almost was like a dual citizen. My parents were living in Germany in the military, and my mom was pregnant with me, and they were going to stay there, but then the mark crashed, and they couldn't afford living there anymore with the conversion rate of the U.S. dollar to the mark. So they moved back to the United States, but they almost had me in Germany. So I would have been born on a military base, which would have made me a U.S. citizen. But because of our agreement with Germany, I would have been able to have a dual citizenship. So I would have been German and American at the same time. So random fact. So that's another reason why I chose German as a language, just because, um, yeah, I my mom spoke some German to me. She wasn't. I'm much better at German than she is. I'll say that much. Um, but it's still awesome. Okay. Ja, Hamburg. Äh, ich reise nach Hamburg ähm, in in 2009. Ähm, in Jahre 2009. I think that's how I'd say it. Und ja, Hamburg ist sehr schön, auch sehr groß und sehr aufregend. Okay, here we go. Kamera 2.
Here's what we're gonna do. So I've got the spatula. I've sanitized.
and we're just going to mix it, right? So I told you we want to be vigorous, but not too vigorous, right? We want to mix it to where I've got a few air bubbles. A few is okay, but we don't want it to be super crazy. So again, I like to mix it one direction, and then I'll stop, let it kind of slow down, and then I'll start going in the opposite direction. We want to agitate the beer, but not overly agitate it because we don't want a whole ton of oxygen entering the beer. I guess that's the reason why this spatula is actually also really nice, because it's got a lot of slits, so it's allowing the beer and the corn sugar to mix better. Nächstes Mal, wenn ich reise nach Deutschland, ich will nach Berlin reisen und Stuttgart und Köln und auch München. Letztes Mal, I don't know how to say that actually. Last time I did go to München, and I went there for Oktoberfest, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, anyways, some other time I'll have to go back. All right, so the beer has been stirred. Oh, I pinched myself. Mir Hand tut weh jetzt. Okay, all right, so here we go. I've got my blanket out. Next, oh, you know what else I need? I need something else. Poor Coda tried coming in the door. I heard him crash into it. I thought he was out there with you. The dog door, yeah. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. I need to get one more tool. It's somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. I need it for... Hey, buddy. Okay, where did I put that thing? All right, my tool is missing. Oh nein, das ist nicht gut. Es tut mir leid. Oh, okay, I gotta figure this out. I lost one of my tools, which I need this tool for bottling. Hey, Amy. Oh, she's not here. Oh, I found it. Okay, so remember, there's one more thing. Berlin is cool, but I never been to. In a jar. Oh, this right here. Hold on, this right here. So this is our fermenter. All that stuff that's in there is actually the yeast that's left over from the fermentation. Okay, so I'll give you a closer look so you can see. It's really gross looking, honestly. Look at that. Ew, here's a better view, maybe. Yeah, you can see it. It looks really gross, but all it is it's like leftover hop particulate and grain particulate, but most of it is just dead yeast bodies. I know, sounds super appetizing, doesn't it? All right, so while I'm letting that, my tool, which it's a bottler, I don't even know what it's called, a bottling stick or cane or something like that. I don't know. I know I'm off screen, but you can just hear me talk. Yeah, it's not yummy. It's not bad for you. It's just not good looking. I know it looks gross. So right now I'm just emptying the bottles. So they've been sitting. Yeah, Doggo. Mein Hund. Mein Hund. Heißt Coda. Und ist sehr nett und sehr lustig. ich, wie sagt, wie sagt, wie sagt Nickname auf Deutsch? Ähm, ja, his nickname is for the Speakeasy Brewer. His nickname is the Hoppy Puppy. Spitzname. Oh, that's kind of fun. Spitzname. Mein meine Hund. Er Spitzname ist uh, the Hoppy Puppy. Ich liebe ich mag Deutsch sprechen online. It's fun to speak and practice. So thanks for jumping on and letting me practice. Mein Deutsch ist hässlich, aber ich muss practice. Wie sagt practice? Yeah. Wie sagt practice? Yeah, I guess that's the way of putting it. I don't know. Studieren? No, that's study. Yeah. Practice. Practicum? No, that's a exam. Ich weiß es nicht. Okay, I know it's not the most beautiful view. Here, let me just bring you guys over to me. So you actually have something to look at that's somewhat exciting. Not that I'm exciting, but here, so I moved my bottles to the floor, and all I'm doing right now is I'm putting some new bottles in to get them ready for the next batch. I try to do this so that they're sanitizing while I am bottling these other beers. Again, you want your bottles to at least be in the Star San solution for between, I'd say probably like 1.5 to 2 minutes. Schmetterling und Krank. Ja. Kartoffeln und Krankenhaus. Ja. Oder ich höre ein Wort für was ist das? I'll just say it auf English because I can't remember it. Big Juicy Cat and I think Tion know what I'm trying to say. But it was, what was it? It was a one of those egg breaker thingies. So you guys over there, you eat your hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs on a plate, which I loved, by the way. When I was there, I thought it was so brilliant. But I also thought it was hilarious. But you guys have this tool there. It's like a predetermined egg breaking tool or something like that. It's super long. I have it. I put it on my Discord because I had to ask Big Juicy Cat and Tion if it was a real thing, and of course it is. But I loved it. Okay, I'm gonna connect this. So this is the tool I was looking for. You'll see there's a little depressor, and that's spring loaded. So when I push this down inside the bottle, it releases the beer, and then when I let go, it stops the flow of the beer, and I can pull it out of the bottle without too much hassle. And so I'm just connecting. I'm not going to show you guys this just because it's not that exciting, but I'll show you the bottling here in a second. Just give me one moment. Ein Moment bitte. Oh my gosh, it happens every single time. One thing that I'd recommend is Star San is super, super slippery. So be careful. I just ripped my skin right off. Ouch, that hurt. Woo! Woo! And I don't know what happened to me, but as I got older, I can't, like, when I look at my own cuts or somebody else's cuts, I can't handle it anymore. And this is one of those things where I'm just like, ugh, kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies looking at my own stuff. Ugh. Okay, give me a second. I gotta clean this off. Um, all right, I'll be right back. Injury. Every single time, I cut myself on that stupid hose. Not the hose, but the spigot or the racking cane. One of the two. It hurts. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I don't feel like putting blood in my own beer. Blutbier. Okay, sorry. I don't want to show you guys because I don't know if I get flagged for like gruesome horror, whatever. I don't know. It might be like blood and gore, even though it's beer. Caution: brewing beer, bottling beer is dangerous. Use caution. All right. Since I'm only going to be the one that's drinking it, I'm not worried about it. But anyways, okay. I'm gonna switch over to the camera. That's not so bad. Oh, all right, you win. That sound, yeah, it's not, mine's not bad. It hurts. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna bring the camera down so you guys can see what's going on, okay? All right, so I'm gonna turn the hose on and then we're just gonna bottle each beer. So what I do is I always turn on the spigot slowly, mostly because I have had it happen where when I didn't turn it on slowly, the whole thing shut off because there's so much pressure. What I love about this beer is it's so clear. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to stick this bottling stick, cane, whatever you want to call it, into the bottle, and I just push it down. And then as I push it down, remember that depressor? It's now pushed up, which allows the beer to come through. And we're just going to fill it up. Now, normally what I do is I wait until the beer level reaches the top of the bottle, and then I pull it out. So you have to kind of be quick to pull it out, because if you aren't, that'll spill all over the place. Not that big of a deal. It just makes more of a mess. You will make messes. So here we go. We got bubbles, and then I pulled out right at the top. I've obviously had lots more practice, so just be ready to lose a little bit of beer from it spilling over. But when you pull this out, it will leave about 1 inch of space at the top, which is perfect. 1 inch of space at the top will allow for the carbonation to be forced back into the beer. Now, let me explain a little bit why we're using corn sugar, okay? Because maybe I didn't explain that very well. So we're using corn sugar. You can use other sugar as well, but corn sugar is a simple sugar. Okay, I spilled a little bit on that one. It's a simple sugar that yeast can eat. So yes, the fermentation is done, but there's still a little bit of yeast in the beer, okay? Right now it's just dormant. Or if there's any sugar in there, there's a little bit of yeast. It's probably eating that sugar that's in the beer. But what we did was we added the corn sugar, which is a simple sugar, which is a sugar that yeast can eat, and we're mixed it in with the beer. So the yeast that's in the beer still will be using that corn sugar to eat and basically do a mini fermentation. And that mini fermentation will produce just enough CO2 that it will carbonate these bottles. Now, another way you can carbonate beer is you keg it. So if you have a keg, which honestly is a lot easier. I kegged last weekend. I just didn't have time to set everything up. I had to just do it because of lack of time. But kegging is just so much easier. You don't have to clean bottles. You don't have to cap it. You don't have to rinse the bottles off or do any of that stuff. You just do it, and it's nice. It's so much easier. Okay, so all these are done. So since these just have the pop top, you can just close them off and tighten them, done. There's that, okay? So let's take a quick taster of this, shall we? I want to see what it tastes like. All right, let's just get a great view of what we're getting ready to do. Okay, you guys see the glass? Yep, okay, sorry. Obviously, you probably seen much better video quality on Twitch, but look at that. Look at that color. I'm so happy right now. Look at that. Okay, so that color is absolutely fantastic. Beautiful gold color, clear, it's amazing. So let me switch cameras real fast so you guys can see up top. And we're gonna do a quick beer review. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Look up here. Okay, so here we are. Look at that, beautiful, clear, oh my gosh. In terms of smell, it smells exactly what I wanted it to smell like in terms of a Pilsner. It's a little hop, you can barely smell the hoppiness. Just smells crisp and clean, kind of like fresh wheat, fresh cut wheat almost. And the amount of bitterness that I have in here is just fantastic. It's just so good. So let's, oh, oh yeah. Oh man, that is so good. Wow. Let's see, what hops did I use? Let's look at this. Man, that's good. Okay, I used Tettnang hops and Hallertau Hersbrucker. So basically, I used the, what did I use? Hallertau Hersbrucker for bitterness. And then I did the Tettnang for aroma and flavor. And both of those are just mild, fine, slightly spicy, and clean. Wow, that is just such a pleasant beer. Once this is fully carbonated, it's going to be fantastic. Wow, I think this might be one of my best Pilsners yet. Holy cow. Okay, I'm going to have Brubella try it real fast. I'll be right back. Okay, Brubella. Hello, puppet. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful?
Very clean.
Yeah.
Smell?
Yeah, it does smell really good. It smells really clean.
Very pleasant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. I need to see if I can find some tiny bottles to put this in so I can send it to competition. I've got 2 of them. I need to find a 3rd one. So this might be a competition beer. Sure. Whatever you want. I'll be off and on. I'm almost done. I'm just going to be bottling here because I'm going to try and be done in the next 40 minutes. Yep, because once Elit turns on, I'm going to be a pumpkin anyways. Okay, fantastic beer. Big Juicy Cat, if I ever find a way for me to come out to Germany, same with you, Cornholio, I will try and bring some beer out with me. Yeah, I'm so excited about that. Wow. It's that's like even better than my first German Pils, honestly. Wow, that's good. Okay, so one other thing I need to do, sorry, I'm gonna go back and forth for a second. Give me one moment, y'all. I use a lot of towels, and I try really hard to not use a ton of towels, but I just don't like all the moisture. So one thing that I recommend that you all do is once you're done bottling, just because you've got Star San on these bottles and some beer, just rinse it off. Just a simple rinse off is fine. Star San has a tendency to leave a film, and it kind of can be gross. For some people, it might be off-putting if they get a bottle that's, got some film on it. They might see it and be like, oh, it's not clean. But honestly, it's clean. It just looks not clean. Cornholio, was ist dein Beruf? Wo arbeitest du? Okay. While you're answering that question, I'm gonna go see if I can find another small bottle because I need these bottles, these type of bottles for competition because this is going to be a competition beer. So show. Let me look for that while you're answering that question. Okay, wait.
I guess what I'm thinking is like when you have like classes, you have sales. So you have to randomly once they buy, they'll log in. Once they log in, they have their own dashboard.
Es tut mir leid. Mein Ehefrau ist hast ein Termin mit deiner Kollegin. Oh, sehr cool. That's awesome. Wie lange arbeitet dort? Wie lange arbeitet dort? I don't know if that's an actual phrase that you guys say over there. How long have you worked there? I guess that's the right way of saying it. Oh, 13 Jahre. Und was machst du dort? Bist du ein Chef? Oder wie sagt Manager? Oh, cool. That's awesome. Well done. Good on you. I don't know how to say this. Since you are working in the wood section, do you work with wood often for fun or maybe a side gig or something? Like, do you do carpentry or anything? I only know the people that I do know that work with wood are amazing with woodworking. I have a friend that made his own table and cutting board and all this other stuff. Kind of cool. Oh yeah. Is it just? I'm sorry. I should point this down so I can actually look up. Is it just because it's bigger, or there's more options, or why do you like Home Depot better? Okay, cool. When you do make your own stuff with wood, I guess what have you made? Like what was something that you made that was super, like, you were very proud of? So I'm just getting some bottles ready. Again, efficiency, right? So it can get bigger. Oh yeah. Milwaukee's a good brand. I have a mix. I've got some Milwaukee. I've also got some DeWalt and some other stuff. I really hope I've got enough bottles. I was just looking. I don't know if this is enough. We'll see. We'll see. Might be in panic mode here before too long because I'm not gonna, or I'm gonna be drinking a lot of beer before too long. Man, I spend so much time at Home Depot. I work on house projects and stuff like that. I've been working on irrigation at our house. We have einen großen Garten in front of our house. Before und vor unser Haus. I don't know. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and the people are bigger too. Obviously, I'm an exception. You know, I'm what we call not big. All right, you guys got this, okay? Hey, what's up? Vorgarten, okay. Vielen Dank. Vorgarten und so vor is in front und aft. Nine. That's, I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Behind unser Haus. Yeah, the crazy thing about the US is we've got so much dang land. The roads are bigger, which means that we can have bigger trucks and things like that, which isn't always better. It is helpful though. I've been actually thinking about getting a truck. We only have one car. My wife and I have shared one car for I guess I should say probably for 3 years of our marriage, we both had our own car, but 10 of that 13 years has been sharing a car. That's how we were able to get most of our debt paid off when we were first married. And then, I don't know, just the way my schedule worked out with my work and with her schedule, it just worked better to have one car. So we didn't have to pay insurance or gas as much. So it was much nicer. I'm all about being resourceful, you know? It's like if I don't need it, I probably won't get it. But we have a kid on the way, and so we're going to need to get another car because my schedule, I'm a night owl with work. I work the late hours. And hey, no. It's the mailman. Be nice. Sorry, my dog's freaking out. It's okay. He's a friend. Friend. Yeah, good boy. Sorry. I see you wrote something. I'll look here in a second. I'm sorry. Let me finish the bottling real fast and then I'll be right there. Dude, it's so awesome that you jumped on. I appreciate you jumping on and staying. It's fun. And thanks for letting me practice my German with you. I have a lot to learn still. But honestly, the best thing for me right now is to practice and ask questions where I'm not sure what to do or how to say something. I did this one stream that was nur auf Deutsch. Es war sehr schwer, aber viel Spaß. Und kein Englisch. Wann ich spreche auf Englisch, ich habe, I don't know how to say that. I had to, if I spoke in English, I had to do something like eat a piece of garlic or some other thing. It was gross. Okay, let me look at what you said. Okay, so you said my sister was in USA with her husband. She told me it's very easy, like, to get fat. Yes, yeah, you're right. It is. Honestly, like, here's the thing. We put a lot of sugar in a lot of things, and we have big meals, and we have big fridges so we can collect a lot of things. I'll bring you up here so I can actually look at y'all. So we have all those things, right? And unlike you guys, we have so much space, so it takes forever for us to go from place to place, just because it takes so long, right? So you can ride your bike, but sometimes it just isn't conducive for riding your bike because of weather, or it's just so long, or the roads aren't really designed. I shouldn't say the roads aren't designed for this. A lot of cities are moving closer to doing roads that have bike paths that are more conducive for people riding bikes. But honestly, like if you go to some place like, for example, where I'm at, I'm in Salt Lake City, or you go to Colorado, or places that are near outdoorsy things like mountain biking or skiing or hiking or things like that, you have a tendency to have people that are skinnier, because you have people that exercise. I would also say if you go somewhere where there's a lot of business startups, like small businesses or entrepreneurs, I feel like a lot of those people are also fairly skinny, and I think part of it's because people who have like a business mindset also are very motivated and just gung ho about starting things and doing things, so they get motivated to like work out. But I mean, the best thing is eat healthy and exercise often. Just don't stop moving, and that tends to be what works out best. And so we make all of our own food at home, or try to. We go on hikes, ride our bikes whenever we can. And the big thing is don't eat a whole lot of sugar. We put sugar in freaking everything here in the United States, like bad sugar. And so it's just bad for your health. So there's that. Anyways, in terms of, it's 3 minutes from my home, the next two, oh yeah, see, and that's the other thing too. You guys also have really good mass transit systems. When I was in Chicago for a little bit, I would say their mass transit system was really good also, and things were kind of close, like your market and things like that. So that was nice. But I don't know, some things that we need to work on here for sure. But it's just we have different challenges, you know. When you guys are the size of one of our states, I think. Okay, we're gonna use the webcams for sound today. Pen lapel mic ran out of battery, so that's what's going on. Anyways, what I was saying is, don't eat sugar, exercise often, and it's all good. And what I was gonna say is, everything where you guys are at, like it's just everything's closer, which is cool. Oh, you got the same coffee machine that I got? Oh, sweet. Yeah, the Mocha Master, it's the best. Honestly, it's the best. If you want good coffee, it is the best for pour overs. One last thing, I see, what's my job? I am an airline pilot. So that's what I do. So I work with Southwest Airlines. That's my job. So this is my backup. Like, I'm brewing beer because I also want to start a brewery. I've got a couple ideas for breweries. So I just got to learn and grow and brew a lot, take good notes, that kind of thing. Figure out new processes to improve my beer. Not to mention, like, I need to also learn how to work on larger systems.
just because, you know, larger systems, you have to scale things differently, like different amount of grains and things like that. I don't know if I have enough bottles. We'll see. I thought I had plenty of bottles, but it does not seem like I do. But I've got a growler, so maybe I will have plenty of time. Yeah, yes and no. So Southwest doesn't really, we don't go to a whole lot of places. Outside of the U.S., we go to Mexico, like Central America. So we do Central America and the Caribbean. I'm gonna bring you back down here.
Okay. How about now? If I get down here, you can hear. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, thanks for that. I'm sorry I didn't see that. Shoot, I was just talking about all sorts of random stuff. Okay. Yay, we fixed it. Hey, thanks for that. I'm sorry that that happened. One thing about my my stream is I have a tendency to have technical difficulties. Not my favorite thing about that, but it's okay. We make it work. And I appreciate people like you for saying something. Let's see here. Whatever I was saying, I don't remember where you last heard. Maybe I stopped talking about traveling into the Caribbean, and I travel mostly U.S., domestic flying. That's about it. Nothing super crazy. Do some longer flights, that kind of thing. Like U.S., Eastern Coast U.S. to Western Coast U.S., it's about 6 hours, give or take. So it's bananas, man. It's bananas, I'll tell you what. But it's a good job. I get to be home for like 18 days a month, which is awesome. Like, I need that. It's just, we're talking about moving to Denver because I'm tired of commuting to work. And what it means to commute, it's not just driving to work or walking to work or whatever. Like, I'm based in Denver, and I live in Salt Lake, so it's stressful because it's based on whether I can get a seat or not, and sometimes I miss flights because of weather, and I can't get home, and so it's one less night at home. So it's not fun, in my opinion. It's not my favorite thing. It's probably the least favorite thing I have about my job is just not being home as much. But honestly, like I probably have more time at home than most people have. Anyways, but I'm about to have like a huge amount of time off. We have our kid on the way, and I'm going to be doing paternity leave, and so it's 12 weeks off. So I'm flying a ton, trying to save up some time, some sick time and stuff, and I'll just use that for being at home, which is awesome. So, yep. Also, for those of you who are on, I think it might just be you, Cornelio, but I'm going to be brewing again here not next week, but the week after. We're going to be brewing another IPA. So you're just going to hear my voice because I'm just dumping out my bottles. I've just got the last few bottles here for, I'm just dumping out the Star San. Nothing you have to see. Let's see, how are we doing on time? 11:38, that's good. We're good, guys, we're good. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, we're going to be brewing version 2 of an IPA I just made. It's for a friend's wedding. I think last week we brewed a Mexican lager. That was also for my friend's wedding. I'm doing both for my friend's wedding. So Mexican lager and IPA. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And the IPA that I made last time, which version 1, that's what I'm talking about, is version 1. Nürburgring. What is that? Was ist Nürburgring? And yeah, not next weekend. I thought it was. I was wrong. It'll be the weekend of like the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of June. So not next weekend. Wait. Maybe racetrack. No, I don't. Do you race, or are you just a big race fan? I don't have ich habe kein Fernseher in mein Haus. Hey, Big Juicy Cat, thanks so much for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, dude, it was awesome to have you. Have fun with your brother. And yes, as soon as it's ready to do a full review after it's done carbonating, I will let you know so you can see the beer review. It'll be awesome. But dude, have an awesome evening. Thanks for jumping on. You're the man. Tell your brother I say hi because I believe your brother was what, Big Juicy Dog or something like that. I can't remember. But anyways, have fun with your brother. All right, we are getting close. I might need to either drink the rest or I can't drink a gallon of beer. That'll ruin me for the rest of the day. You're a fan. There is 24-hour race from Saturday. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, you can't miss that. Yeah, I used to be really into football, not soccer, but like U.S. football. But it was mostly like college football and then professional baseball. Those were the things I was into. And then when my wife and I were first married, we were so broke we couldn't even afford TV. Like we didn't even have a TV at first. And we eventually bought a TV so we can like watch movies. Like I'd connect my Xbox up to the TV and we could watch movies. But yeah, we were so broke we couldn't even afford like Dish or cable or any of that stuff, which was good. We didn't have to waste our time watching that stuff, you know. But we just got out of it. We never made a habit of it. And so yeah, that's why we don't have a TV now. We never bought a TV or never got cable afterwards, so it was just kind of one of those things. So that being said, I'm kind of going down a rabbit trail here, but that being said, about that is I lost track of all the sports, like all the players that I knew really well and followed, and I could tell you all sorts of stats and everything like that. Like I was really big into it. All of a sudden, I went back and I'm like, who are these people? Oh, they changed the rules a little bit. I don't remember the rules. Blah 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 blah. So, anyways, so that's why I brew beer, because I have time to brew beer and I don't have time to watch TV anymore. And then every once in a while, I'll play video games. Oh, fun. Okay, you don't understand. Yeah, well, it's funny. I watched my first rugby match. We were in New Zealand in February, and I was like, "Well, we gotta watch a rugby match. Like, we have to do that, at least, you know." You know what? I just realized, gosh, I'm such a dingus. Let me pull you guys back up here. Okay, there we go. You can hear me loud and clear. I didn't even show you guys how freaking cap these bottles. I'm sorry. Bad entertainer. Bad speakeasy brewer. Bad. Okay, so we've got our torture device, which is the Krimper. That's my German accent. If I was trying to sound like I was from Germany. I do that every once in a while if I have like somebody spam me. Like they get on the phone, I'll be like, "Hello, here's Hans." And they're like, "Hi, I'm trying to call Austin." I'm like, ich spreche kein English, nur Deutsch. And they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to call." I just mess with them. It's pretty funny. Oh, but anyways, what you were saying, you were talking about American football. You didn't understand it. I was the same way for me watching rugby for the first time. I was like, what in the hell is going on? I'm like, they dropped the ball. Oh, go team go, whatever. And they just kept picking it up and running, and I was like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. That's how I am with foreign sports. But did you know, I just learned this, did you know that the name soccer was actually made, not by the U.S., no. It was made by the British. The British actually called it soccer first, not the U.S., and then the rest of the world called it soccer for a while as well, but then when the British changed it from soccer back to football, everybody around the world did it because the British did it, and the U.S. was like, no, we already have a game called football. We can't change it to football, so we're going to keep it soccer. So now we're the only ones that have soccer still. But it used to be called the Association of, I can't remember, I read an article on it, and it was like the Association of something, so the nickname was ASOC, so the Brits like to use short forms of a word, and then they had some really silly rule that if you shortened a word, you had to add an ER to the end of it, so it went from ASOC to sock, and then they just added an ER, and it made it soccer. So now you know. Now you know some random fact, and it's a true fact. Fact check true. I speak the truth. Anyways, yep. See, I think that's the last of my bottles, so I have a little bit left, and when I have a little bit left, there's only one thing to do, and that's just put it in a glass and drink it, which will be yummy. Gonna rinse everything off. Star sand, like I said, leaves a film, so you want to make sure you got it all off. Hold on, I gotta check the dog. He's not supposed to lick a wound. Gotta find out where he's at. I don't think I let him outside. Oh, there you are. Good. Okay, he's being a good boy. Okay, anyways, do you think German is... Okay, very good question. Yes and no. I would say it depends on the style of beer. Honestly, I really enjoy myself a German beer. Helles, Dunkels, Oktoberfest, Märzens, German Pils, Weissenbiers. Yeah, I mean, I like all of those beers. Honestly, they're really good. A lot of the German beers are crisp, they're clean, they're very fine-tuned because a lot of the German beers have older recipes that they've been working on for hundreds of years, so they haven't changed at all. And so I really like the traditional beer styles that you guys have there in Germany. So we have a brewery here in Salt Lake City, actually, that's one of my favorite breweries. It's called TF Brewing, and they brew a ton of German beers. They even have a kind of a specialty German lager called a Rauchbier. So it's a smoky lager. It's kind of like a Märzen in terms of color, or Oktoberfest, but they use smoked malt in it to kind of give it a smoky, peaty flavor. And so it's a really pleasant beer. But a lot of their beers are just exactly like what you'd expect in Germany. So in general, I would say I really like German beers. So I guess I should say it this way. I don't necessarily like German beers better than every other beer, and I don't really like American beers better than every other beer. It just depends on the style. I would say if I were to do a Märzen beer or Helles or Dunkel or something along that line, or Oktoberfest, I'd probably want to go get an actual German beer because there's a certain flavor and expectation I have with those beers that I just would rather go to the source and get those beers because I know that's what I'm going to get. When it comes to things like IPAs, ambers, amber ales, red ales, that kind of thing, then I really like the American style beer. Not meaning that what you guys, I haven't been there since you guys got rid of the Reinheitsgebot. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or if I said it correctly, but so I haven't been back to Germany since. So I'm sure now that there is freedom to use new ingredients and do different things with your beer, I bet the craft beer scene is pretty stellar right now in Germany. I went down to Amsterdam once and had some local beers there that were really good. And then you have your British ales too. British ales are good. They're different than German beers. And so they're good in their own way, right? They have cask ales, which are quite pleasant. It's a little different because it's a room temperature beer that's a bit softer on the palate, maybe a little less beer, more drinkable. Not saying that the German beers aren't drinkable. It's just that's what I expect with the beer. It's pub beer, right? And then you come to the U.S. and ours are just like all over the place. We're trying all sorts of things. It's like I put a giant cinnamon stick in my beer, or I just I grabbed a leaf from a local tree and threw it in my beer and used the yeast from that leaf, and here we are. We got this weird beer. We're adding peppers or something like that, which I've done all of those things. We're adding coffee to our beer. So we do a lot of weird things here, and I think that's kind of fun. We're pioneering something new. It's exciting, and obviously now that you guys have freedom in terms of the beer recipes, I'm sure you guys are going to start seeing a lot more of that in Germany, and that's a lot of fun. So I would say just roundabout, like depending on the style, I don't know. I kind of like to try different styles of beer from different locations, because I mean, the TF Brewing, which is right here in Salt Lake, their German beers are pretty right on for what you guys have there in Germany. So it saves me time. I don't have to fly all the way out to Germany to have that. But we also import a lot of local German beers over there, and it's good. So anyways, hope that answers your question. Yes, I have made a Kolsch before. Unfortunately, that Kolsch did not work out. And the reason was both my wife and I were out of town, and our air conditioning system turned off while we were gone. So the house got really hot, and it's supposed to have a cooler temperature. And so it ruined the beer. I was super sad. So I need to do a Kolsch again. But I love Kolsch because that's from Cologne, right? Cologne. So I need to do that next. And yes, cinnamon beer. I did do a beer. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Dune or read the book Dune, but I made a Dune-themed beer. And I used cinnamon and cardamom in it. And it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there's that. You can do all sorts of things with beer. I also put coffee in one of my beers once, which was really great. So I'm going to take some beer from my pot real quick. Here we go. We're going to come back. Oh my word. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so anyways, my hip hop fan, she wanted to do butterbeer. Oh yeah, I actually thought about doing that. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of haze in there. It's all the particulate that came from the fermenter. What you can do is you can cold crash it, which as the temperature drops, it just all settles. So over time it'll settle and the beer is going to be as crystal clear. I mean, already it's really crystal clear. I can see through it. It just, once the stuff settles out, it'll be better. But I'll tell you what, that is a freaking amazing Pilsner. Yeah, I wanted to do
a Star Wars themed beer, but I not much as big of a fan as I am with like Dune, so I don't know what sort of drinks they have in Star Wars, and since I haven't read any like Star Wars books or anything like that, and they don't really explain drinks in the movie, I don't have like a good starting basis for that. Butterbeer would be really fun and it would be interesting, although I've had like peanut butter beer before, and that was really, really good. So I feel like that would be a safe one. I did have a beer once that was god awful. I think it was like Fly Rod IPA or something like that. It was like that beer had something was wrong with it, but it was at a brewery in Bend, Oregon. And I was all excited. Every time I go to a brewery, I always try something fun. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a flight and try all that other stuff. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, but I was trying all the beers, and I'm like, good, 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 good. Nothing was, like, great. It was just all good. And then I tried this one beer, and it tasted like butter and like buttered popcorn, which in beer world, it's considered what we call a phenol or an off flavor, and usually that comes from like something wrong in fermentation, or like either the temperature got jacked up or there's a wild bacteria or something that got in the beer, and it was just so gross. It was the only time I've ever had a beer and almost threw up. Like I was gagging. I like took one sip of it. I'm like, I just couldn't stop. It was so bad, but it was kind of buttery. So in terms of doing like a butter beer, Harry Potter themed beer, I'll have to think about what I can do. Like maybe like a butterscotch, so you make it caramely with a hint of butter. That could work. But hey, you know what? Maybe we just need to do a special when I'm done brewing these beers for my friend's wedding, because I'm doing 2 variations of it. So you're gonna see me brew the same 2 beers for like 2 months. So I brewed an IPA and a Mexican lager already. I'm going to brew the same beers and just like tweak it a little bit to like improve it for my friend's wedding. And then, and I'm also kegging both of them. So I'm practicing the kegging, making sure I got the carbonation down, taking notes on how long it takes to carbonate, because I need all that information for my friend's wedding. And then once I've got the recipe down and the carbonation down in the keg, then I'm going to do the final recipe of both. And I'm just going to do both of them, keg them, and then hope it goes well. So once I'm done with that, I will have a kid, so I'll be brewing probably once a month rather than twice a month. So it'll be a lot less, but yeah, we're gonna be doing some other beers, but maybe the butter beer will do for you guys. All right, you got the Hoppy Puppy, right on. Oh, also, I just realized, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you found me, and thank you for jumping on and staying the whole time. Just, you know, we do everything beer here. So today we bottled, sometimes we'll keg. Every couple of weeks we'll do a beer. We'll actually brew beer. And then beer reviews as well. So that's another thing. I haven't done as many beer reviews, mostly because I've just been really, really busy. So I would say, because I have a kid on the way and I'm not going to be doing as much brewing and kegging or bottling, I'll probably be doing a little bit more focus on content in terms of like different beer styles and trying those beers. So you can anticipate some of that stuff coming up, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of research in terms of how to improve my craft, learning about hops, what's happening in the boil, really getting the phraseology down, and I'll just teach all y'all what I learned, just because it helps me to learn better. So anyways, I need to get going, but Cornholio, cheers. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for being here and helping me out with my German. Prost und zum Wohl. Haben Sie einen schönen Tag noch. Oder einen schönen Tag noch. Yeah, as always, thanks for jumping in. Be adventurous, stay thirsty, speak easy. Oh yeah, we're going to be doing some more beer reviews. Beer reviews.